Hello everyone, I am Criseline Rain Morales and along with Miss Jasmine Pakino, we will be reporting Chapter 12 entitled Employee Benefits. So let's start by defining employee benefits. Ano nga ba itong employee benefits na to? So let us read the definition. Employee benefits is all forms of consideration given by an entity in exchange for service rendered by employees or for the termination of employment. These benefits may be given directly to the employees or to their spouses, children, dependents, or other entities. We can see na there are two parties involved sa meaning ng employee benefits. Merong entity, which is siya yung employer na nagbibigay ng benefits at ang makatatanggap nito ay ang employee. Basically, included dito ang mga key management personnel at kahit na ang mga directors dahil hindi naman sila technically ang employer. Benefits doesn't really mean na ito ay pera lamang dahil sabi nga sa meaning ng employee benefits, ito ay all forms of consideration given as long as natanggap ni employee na galing sa employer at nakinabang siya, that is employee benefits. Pwede itong maging properties, sasakyan, bahay, or expenses like travel expenses, and anything na nakinabang ka. So, bakit binibigyan ni employer si employee ng benefits? Ito ay dahil nagbigay ng service si employee sa kanya or for termination of employment. Aside from this, the definition of employee benefits also states na the benefits given are not only limited to their employees, but it can also be extended sa mga asawa at anak nila or other entities. So, there are 4 classification of employee benefits at mas i-detail namin ito in the latter part of the video. But for now, let's get an overview. So, basahin muna natin ang examples, ang meaning rather, na nakalagay sa book. So, the first one is the short-term employee benefits. These are benefits that are expected to be settled wholly before 12 months after the end of the annual reporting period in which the employees render the related services. And the second one is the post-employment benefits. These are benefits that are payable after the completion of employment. And the third one is the termination benefits. These are benefits provided in exchange for the termination of an employee's employment. And the fourth one is the other long-term employee benefits. These are benefits other than short-term employee benefits, post-employment benefits, and termination benefits. So, in the latter part of this video nga, ako at si Miss Jasmine Pakino ay mas i-detail namin isa-isa itong mga classification ito ng employee benefits. But for now, medyo i-explain natin ito. Okay? So, dahil nga short-term siya, natatanggap ito ni employee in 12 months after the end of the reporting period. Basta short-term ang period niya. Yung other long-term benefits naman, actually kung mapapansin nyo, residual definition lamang ang ibinigay ni book. Long-term ito na hindi nagpo-fall sa alinmang tatlong classification aside from other long-term benefits. Ang palatandaan lang natin dito, term ang pinag-uusapan sa kanya. Di ba nga sa definition natin kanina, sinasabi na nagkakaroon ng employee benefits because of services rendered by employees. Ang natatanggap sa reason na ito ay maaalin sa tatlo. The short term, the other long-term, and the post-employment benefits. Ang kaibahan lang nila ay kung kailan mo sila matatanggap. Maaaring short-term or long-term or after ng employment pa. Kaya nga post-employment. At of course, maaaring matanggap din ito ni employee because of termination, kaya nga may termination benefits. Ano ba itong termination na ito? Ibig sabihin ay may nawala. Terminated na ang relasyon ni employee at employer. Regardless of this termination, may benefits na matatanggap si employee. Lahat ba ng termination ay nakakatanggap ng benefits? The answer is no. Merong dalawang condition para makatanggap si employee. The first one is ang nagdesisyon na tanggalin ka ay sila, ang employer. Without justifiable reason, ay tinanggal ka. Dahil wala ka namang ginagawang masama, maaaring need lang ni employer mag-lay off ng trabahador dahil wala na silang pambayad, dahil sila ang nag-initiate, need nilang magbigay sa'yo. At ito nga ang tinatawag nating termination benefits. However, kapag ikaw mismo ang nag-resign, wala kang matatanggap na ganitong benefits. Magkakaroon din ng termination benefit kung ikaw ang magde-decide na umalis if may may scenario na nag-offer ang company na umalis ka o magstay ka, pero pag umalis ka, may benefits kang makukuha. Technically, dito, ang pag-alis mo ay initiated pa rin ng company. Okay? So, let's move on to the next slide, which is the short-term employee benefits. So, kung kanina, medyo binigyan ko kayo ng explanation about this, mas i-detail na natin ngayon kung ano nga ba ang short-term benefit. A short-term benefit or employee benefits other than termination benefits which are expected to be settled wholly within 12 months after the end of annual reporting period in which the employees render the related services. So, the key points that we have to remember is dahil nga ang term ay short term, most of the time ay kung kailan na i-render ang service ni employee at eto nga, sabi sa meeting, ay within 12 months ang settlement dito. However, it doesn't always depend on the term kasi mayroon ding iba na pwedeng masettle din within 12 months. Kagaya na nga lang ng termination. We just have to remember na as long as it was settled within 12 months, itong 12 months ding ito ang period kung saan si employee ay nag-render ng services sa entity. Okay? Since this is within 1 year lang, therefore, undiscounted siya. Hindi mo na nidisipin na ang several factors. Ito nga lang yung tinakel natin, maaring nung tayo ay senior high school pa. Ito yung for sure, lahat tayo na-encounter na. Ito yung mga salaries payable na kung tinatawag. Okay? So, let's give examples of short-term employee benefits. The first one is the wages, salaries, and social security. Under the labor code, wages and salaries are required to be paid at least twice a month. So, alam naman na natin to. Yung wages, ito yung per hour binibigay. Habang yung salaries, fixed amount na ito, na binibigay, it's either, sabi nga dito, at least to be paid at least twice a month. But it can also be monthly, ganon, monthly binibigay. Next is paid annual leave and paid sick leave. Because of the law, Republic Act number 1081 states na kahit hindi ka pumasok, babayaran ka pa rin ng kumpanya. Ito nga ay tinatawag na paid annual leave and paid sick leave. Next naman ay profit sharing and bonuses payable. Ito ay usually para sa mga key personnel. Kung sakaling kumita ang entity, maaari silang mag-share sa mga empleyado. However, we should always take note kung kailan siya payable. We have two source of obligation kasi, the legal and constructive. Pwedeng i-record ang ito as long as there is a reliable estimate of the amount and yung amount na will be given. And the next one is the non-monetary benefits. Aside from money, pwedeng makatanggap si employee ng benefit like car, properties, or anything. As long as the non-monetary benefit was settled within 12 months, pasok siya sa short-term benefits. So, paano ang accounting nitong short-term benefits? We're going to debit expenses and credit cash. However, if there is a benefit na hindi mo pa nababayaran, magkakaroon tayo ng accrued liability. E di magiging debit to expenses and credit to payable. Kapag naman hindi pa nire-render ang service pero nag-advance payments ka, ikaw na employer, ikaw na entity, this will be treated as prepaid expenses. For example nga ay debit to prepaid expense and credit to cash. So let's have an example nga, an illustration ng short-term employee benefits. Illustration number 1. During the year 2023, Jeep Company incurred short-term employee benefits of 5,800,000 for office employees. We have two scenarios. First is the company paid 5,500,000 and second, the company paid 5,950,000. Unahin natin yung scenario number 1. Scenario number 1, ang binayaran ng kumpanya ay 5,500,000. 500,000. So, mapapansin natin na yung amount paid, which is 5,500,000, is less than sa undiscounted amount of benefits, which is 5,800,000. That is why ang kumpanya dito ay magkakaroon ng accrued liability. Makikita natin sa journal entry na dinebit ang employee benefits expense short term, which is 5,800,000, and credit ang cash, yung 5,500,000. Credit din ang accrued liability, which is i-squeeze lang yung 5,800,000 minus 500,000, which will result to 300,000. So, this scenario 2 naman, ang kumpanya ay nagbayad ng 5,950,000. Makikita natin na yung amount paid ni company is more than the undiscounted amount benefits, which is 5,950,000 is more than 5,800,000. Which is why the journal entry in scenario 2 is credit to employee benefit expense, short term, 5,800,000, debit to advances to employees, ito yung prepaid asset natin, which is 150,000, and credit to cash, 5,950,000. Paano nakuha yung 150,000 na prepaid asset? Dinidak lang yung 5,950,000 sa 5,800,000. That is why we will get 150,000 advances to employees. Alright.
Good day, everyone. After discussing the short-term employee benefit by Ms. Criseline, we have special consideration for short-term employee benefit such as the 13th month pay, profit sharing plans, paid absences, statutory contributions, and bonus plans, which will be further discussed later. So, for now, let us proceed sa 13th month pay. So, this refers to additional compensation or benefit na nare-receive ng mga employees aside sa kanilang regular 12-month salary. And according sa Presidential Decree number 851, entities are required to pay every employee not later than December 24 of each year. And in terms naman sa amount ng 13th month pay, equal to sa 1-month basic salary ni employee. However, it will depend on how long an employee is employed in the entity during the current year. To further discuss, meron tayong illustration. Illustration 2. An employee currently receives a monthly basic pay of 60,000 for the current year 2023. Required under each of the following independent scenarios, determine the amount of 13th month pay to be received by the employee. Sa first scenario, ang 13th month pay na i-compute natin is for the year 2023. And since the employee was hired last March 1, 2022, therefore, for the whole year ng 2023, from January 1 to December 31 is employed na si employee. Therefore, whole amount na 60,000, which is the monthly basic pay, ang magiging 13th month pay niya. And for the second and third scenario naman, same sila na hindi employed for the whole year. Therefore, kailangan pa natin i-prorate based on how long an employee is employed. Sa second scenario, since na-hire lang si employee last April 1, 2023, we will simply multiply the basic pay of 60,000 to the number of months from the date of employment until December 31, which is in this case ay 9/12 from April 1 to December 31. Therefore, ang amount ng 13th month pay ni employee is 45,000. And sa third scenario naman, same lang ng procedures pero 4/12 since 4 months lang from September 1 to December 31. Pero paano naman kapag nag-resign or nag-quit si employee during the year? Instead na until December 31 ay magiging until the date of resignation. Illustration 3. Resignation. On October 1, 2023, an employee earning a monthly basic salary of 90,000 resigned in search for better job opportunities. Required under each of the following independent scenarios, determine the amount of 13th month pay to be received by the employee on the date of his or her resignation. Dito sa illustration, nag-resign si employee on October 1, 2023. First scenario, na-hire si employee last 2020. Therefore, from January 1, 2023 to October 1, 2023, is employed na siya or 49 months. Then, imumultiply lang natin ang basic pay which is 90,000 sa 9/12 or months na employed si employee. Same procedure din sa scenario 2 and scenario 3. Pero since na-hire si employee last May 1, i-compute lang natin siya from May 1, 2023 to October 1, 2022 or 5 months or 5/12. Then, imumultiply lang natin siya sa basic monthly pay na 90,000 para makuha natin yung 37,500. For accounting of 13th month pay, hindi porket na nag-resign na si employee ay hindi na siya makaka-receive ng 13th month pay. Even if nag-resign or nag-quit na ang isang employee, magiging entitled pa rin sila sa proportional amount of 13th month pay, which is yung diniscuss ko kanina. Kaya nagkakaroon din ng monthly accrual of 1/12 of labor pay ang mga entities dahil kahit na nag-resign or hindi ang isang employee, may responsibility pa rin ang mga entities na bigyan sila ng 13th month pay. And since nakadepende ang amount on how long an employee is employed, as the employment during the current year becomes longer, mag-i-increase din yung amount ng 13th month pay na ma-receive ng isang employee. And to record the accrual, magkakaroon tayo ng debit na 13th month pay expense and credit na accrued liability for 13th month pay. However, walang accrued liability na nag-a-arise for entities na gumagamit ng calendar year reporting or ito yung mga may reporting date ending every December 31. Dahil gaya ng sabi ko kanina, as of December 24 ay binabayaran na ng mga entities ang 13th month pay ng mga employees. However, sa mga entities naman na gumagamit ng fiscal year reporting or ang reporting date nila is other than December 31, mag-recognize tayo ng accrued liability based on the period from January 1 until the fiscal reporting date. Another special considerations for short-term employee benefit is the paid absences, wherein these benefits are given to employee to give them some time from work without affecting the amount of their benefits. And common examples ng paid absences ay ang vacation leaves and sick leaves ng isang employee. Paid absences can be classified into two, the accumulating and non-accumulating. For accumulating, these paid absences can be carried forward and used in future periods. So, if yung current paid absences mo is hindi mo fully nagamit or hindi mo na-utilize ng buo, for example, may natira pa na 3, pwede mo yun ma-carry over sa next period. So, if may 15 ka na paid absences during the year, and may natira ka pa na 3 na paid absences from accumulating, magiging 18 na ang paid absences mo for the next year. However, accumulating paid absences can also be classified to vesting or non-vesting. Kapag vesting, ang mga employees ay entitled to cash payment for unused paid absences. So, kapag nag-resign si employee, pwede niya pabayaran kay entity yung natira or hindi niya nagamit na paid absences. For non-vesting naman, is kabaliktaran lang siya kasi hindi entitled si employee sa cash payment for unused paid absences. Always take note na ang babayaran lang ni entity for vesting is the unused paid absences. And usually, vacation leaves ang common example ng vesting paid absences. Next classification is the non-accumulating. Dito naman, hindi pwede ma-carry over ang unused paid absences. Pero parang nag-expire yung mga paid absences once hindi mo siya nagamit during the whole year. And also, hindi entitled si employee to cash payment for the unused paid absences. Let us proceed sa accounting for paid absences. We recognize paid absences based sa classification nito, whether it is accumulating vesting, accumulating non-vesting, and non-accumulating. And we recognize two accounts, which is expense account and accrued liability account. For accrued paid absences, we recognize expense when the employee renders service or whether use or unused yung paid absences. Since carry over naman yung mga unused, therefore, mag-recognize pa rin tayo ng expense account. For non-accumulating naman, we only recognize expense when the absences occur or kapag na-utilize na ni employee yung paid absences niya. So, i-ignore lang natin yung unused paid absences when we are determining the amount for the expense account. Illustration 6. Sa scenario A, accumulating siya. Therefore, i-recognize natin ang paid absences as expense whether used or not. However, separate ang computation natin for used paid absences and unused paid absences since mag-iiba ang salary base nila. First is i-compute muna natin ang used vacation leaves using the current salary rate and i-multiply natin to sa number of utilized or used vacation leaves. I-compute natin siya for each employee para makuha natin yung total na 39,300 na amount of expense for used vacation leaves. After makompute yung used vacation leaves, proceed tayo sa unused vacation leaves. However, dito, instead na gamitin natin yung current salary rate, ang gagamitin natin as our salary base is the future salary rates or the salary starting 2024. I-multiply lang natin ang salary base sa unutilized vacation leaves for employee para makuha natin yung expense from unused vacation leaves. And since the paid vacation leaves are accumulating, i-add lang natin ang total amount of expense from unused and unused vacation leaves. While for accrued liability naman, as of December 31, 2023, 63,800 ang accrued liability natin, which is equal to the expense for unused vacation leaves. For scenario B, if vacation leaves are non-accumulating, gaya ng sabi ko kanina, the amount of expense na i-recognize lang natin is from the utilized or used vacation leaves. So, in this case, 39,500 ang expense na i-recognize natin. And for accrued liability, wala tayong i-recognize na accrued liability since hindi naman natin carry over ang unused vacation leaves. Under accumulating, we have vesting and non-vesting. And for vesting, ang amount of accrued liability na i-recognize natin is only for unused paid absences measured at the expected future salary, while for expense naman, ang amount is for used paid absences which is measured at current salary rates plus the accrued liability. On the other hand, for non-vesting naman, accrued liability for unused paid absences is measured at the expected future salary rates reduced by the estimated related to resigning employees dahil hindi na sila entitled to a cash payment. While for expense naman, same lang sila ng vesting na ang amount is for used paid absences lang, which is measured at current salary rates plus the accrued liability. Under non-accumulating paid absences, wala tayong i-recognize na accrued liability dahil hindi na-carry over ang unused paid absences. And nag-expire siya once hindi na-utilize fully during the current year. While for expense, used paid absences measured at current salary rates. Always remember lang na ang use is based at current salary rates while unused is based at future salary rates. Another special considerations for short-term employee benefit is the profit sharing and bonus plans. This is an innovative benefit to boost their morale that they can share in the portion of company profits. Thus, can be a useful incentive to help employees focus efforts on the long-term success. An entity shall only recognize the cost of profit sharing and bonus plans only when it gives rise to present obligation, whether it is legal and constructive, and also when an entity can make a reliable estimate. And for account, we use accrued liability since they are usually paid after the finalization of financial statements, and expense account since it is a transaction with bonus or with employees.
So, to explain profit sharing and bonus plans further, let's have an illustration. Illustration number 9. During 2023, Cosmos Company reported 5,250,000 net income before income tax of 25%. As an incentive, the company pays a 5% bonus to its management team. Required under each of the following independent scenarios, determine the amount of bonus to be paid to the management team. Scenario number 1, bonus is based on net income before bonus and income tax. Scenario number 2, bonus is based on net income after bonus but before tax. Scenario number 3, bonus is based on net income before bonus but after income tax. Scenario number 4, bonus is based on net income after bonus and income tax. So, yung scenario number 1 and 2, ako yung magtatackle. But the scenario 3 and 4 ay si Miss Jasmine Pakino ang mag-explain ito sa inyo. So, kapag ang bonus ay based on net income before bonus and income tax, we'll just multiply the net income and the bonus percentage. Which is why we multiplied the 5,250,000 na net income sa 5% na bonus. Which is why makakakuha tayo ng 262,500 pesos sa scenario number 1, which is bonus is based on net income before bonus and income tax. Sa scenario 2 naman, wherein bonus is based on net income after bonus but before income tax, the net income will be divided with 1 plus bonus percentage and the answer will be multiplied with the bonus percentage. That is why, sa scenario number 2, ang bonus natin, ang 5,250,000 ay dinivide sa 1 plus 5%. 1 plus 5% is equals to 5,250,000 divided by 1.05. Kapag dinivide natin to, makukuha natin yung 5 million, which is ibumultiply naman natin sa bonus rate, which is the 5%. Para malaman kung tama ito, titingnan natin, yung net income before bonus and incentive tax ay 5,250,000. Yung amount of bonus nga, since after bonus siya, 250,000, i-deduct natin. Yung 5,250,000 sa 250,000, which we will get the net income after bonus but before income tax of 5 million pesos. Itong 5 million pesos ay imumultiply natin sa bonus rate na 5%. At makakakuha tayo ng amount of bonus dito ng 250,000 sa scenario 2 na bonus is based on net income after bonus but before tax.
Before bonus but after income tax. So, ang formula natin dito is B is equal to B percentage times net income minus tax percentage, which is income tax rate multiplied by net income or NI less B or bonus. Before bonus siya, so hindi na natin kailangan i-less ang bonus sa formula natin. Then after makuha ang formula, isa-substitute lang natin by replacing the variables or letters in an algebraic expression with their numerical values. So bonus is 5%, net income is 5,250,000, and income tax rate is 25%. Next is use the PEMDAS and solve muna natin yung mga nasa loob ng parenthesis. Multiply the number immediately outside the parenthesis, which is 25%, by each of the integers on the inside which is 5,250,000 and B. So 25% times 5,250,000 is 1,312,500 and 25% times negative B is negative 0.25B. Then inside again the parenthesis, you add and subtract or combine like terms. So 5,250,000 minus 1,312,500 is equal to 3,937,500. Tapos multiply the number immediately outside the parenthesis, which is 5% by each of the integers on the inside, which is 3,937,500 and 0.25b, para mag-arrive tayo sa 196,875 plus 0.0125b. Then solve for b, lipat natin si 0.0125, then divide 196,875 by 0.9875 para makuha natin yung amount of bonus na 199,367. So, basic algebra expression lang siya, and need lang natin tandaan dito is yung pinaka-formula. Then for checking naman if tama yung sagot natin, net income before bonus and income tax, which is 5,250,000, less natin yung amount of tax, which is 1,262,658 pesos, then mag-arrive tayo sa net income before bonus but after income tax na 3,987,342. Then multiply natin siya sa bonus rate na 5% para mag-arrive tayo sa amount of bonus na 199,367, which is parehas doon sa amount na sinolve natin kanina. Scenario 4. Same procedure lang din siya. Ang nag-iba lang dito is yung formula. For scenario 4, after bonus and income tax. So, ang expression is madadagdag lang dito yung after bonus, which is net income or NI minus B or bonus. Then, solve lang natin yung algebraic expression para mag-arrive sa bonus na 189,759. Then, for checking, net income before bonus and income tax, which is 5,250,000, ililess natin siya sa bonus na 189,759, less amount of tax na 1,265,060 pesos, para mag-arrive tayo sa net income after bonus and income tax na 3,795 and 181, and multiply lang natin siya sa bonus rate na 5% para mag-arrive tayo sa amount of bonus na 189,759, which is the same sa na-compute natin kanina. Another special consideration for short-term employee is the employee and employer statutory contributions. This refers to a mandatory payment made by an employee to a specific fund or program as required by the law. And dito, in Philippine setting, law require the contribution of employees and employer to PhilHealth, SSS for private sector, GSIS for government sector, and HDMF or mas kilala na pag-ibig. In each contribution, usually nagdededuct ng certain portion sa gross pay ng isang employee which pertains to employee share, and other portion naman is the employer share. Sa employee share, nire-recognize natin siya using compensation expense account, and binabawasan nito yung gross pay ni employee para mag-arrive tayo sa net pay. However, kapag employer share naman is meron tayong separate expense account for each type of statutory contributions because employer share siya, wala siyang effect sa employee's net pay. Also, si employer ang required na mag-remit ng both employee and employer share, pati na rin ang withholding tax to government agencies. For computation of employees' net take-home pay, meron tayong gross compensation or gross pay, less natin yung mga deductions such as employees' share and statutory contributions and withholding tax on compensation. Illustration 10. First is need muna natin i-compute yung total net pay by using the formula kanina. Determine natin yung gross pay, which is 6 million, then yung mga deductions na employee share, na PhilHealth contributions amounting to 400,000, SSS contributions amounting to 500,000, and HDMF contributions amounting to 100,000. Also, deduct din natin yung withholding tax compensation, which is 1,400,000, para mag-arrive tayo sa 3,600,000. Take note na sa pag-compute ng net pay, i-ignore lang natin yung employer share since wala siyang effect sa employee's net pay. And employee's share lang ang may effect, which is to decrease the amount of net pay. Then, journal entry natin to record the payment to employees, employee statutory contribution, and withholding tax. So, debit natin yung compensation expense na 6 million, then i-credit natin yung cash na 3,600,000, which is equal to net pay, withholding tax payable na 1,400,000, PhilHealth na 400,000, SSS payable na 500,000, and HDMF payable na 100,000. Next naman is employer share. Journalize din natin siya pero hindi compensation expense ang account na gagamitin natin. Mag-record tayo ng additional and separate account for each type of statutory contributions. Remember na employer share lang ang i-record natin dito and hindi kasama ang withholding tax on employees' compensation. So, debit natin yung PhilHealth expense na 600,000, SSS expense na 550,000, HDMF expense na 200,000, then credit natin yung corresponding payable accounts for PhilHealth na 600,000, SSS na 550,000, and HDMF payable na 200,000.
Let's move on naman to another employee benefit classification, which is other long-term employee benefits. So, let's read the definition of other long-term employee benefits. These are all employee benefits other than short-term employee benefits, post-employment benefits, and termination benefits. Kung mapapansin natin sa definition niya, ito ay residual definition lamang. If wala sa tatlo, short-term, post-employment, and termination benefit, automatic na siya ay other long-term employee benefits. So, nagbigay ang standard ng ilang examples of other long-term employee benefits. Ito nga ay ang long-term paid absences, such as sabbatical leave. Ito yung parang utos ng Diyos, araw ng pahinga. There are other example of this, basta we just have to take note na kahit long-term kang wala, for example, ay wala ka sa trabaho ng 2 years, tapos binabayaran ka pa rin, pasok yan dito. The second example is jubilee or other long-term service benefits. Sabi nga ay long-term service. For example, ay nagtrabaho ka for 30 years, tapos may natanggap kang benefits because of that long-term service. Siya ay jubilee. The third one is the long-term disability benefits. Maaring nag-render ka pa rin ng service, hindi because of retirement, ha? Pero may disability at matagalan ang pagbabayad ng benefits. E di pasok siya dito. We have to take note in long-term disability benefits that if the level of benefit depends on the length of service, an obligation arises when the service is rendered. Measurement of that obligation reflects the probability that payment will be required and the length of time for which payment is expected to be made. On the other hand, if the level of benefit is the same for any disabled employee regardless of years of service, the expected cost of those benefits are recognized when an event occurs that causes a long-term disability. The next example of other long-term employee benefits is profit sharing and bonuses. If you can remember, may profit sharing and bonuses din sa short-term benefits, right? The only difference of the profit sharing of bonuses in short-term benefits and other long-term benefits is the term. Kung matagal bago ma-settle, then this would fall to other long-term. But if it can be settled within 12 months, sa short-term siya. Alright. And the last example is the deferred compensation. These are an addition to employees' regular compensation that is set aside to be paid at a later date. So we also have to take note na not because we discuss different benefits that an employees may receive, ay marireceive niya na nga lahat ng ito. Nakadepende pa rin yun sa company or sa employer. So the measurement of other long-term employee benefits is not usually subject to the same degree of uncertainty as the measurement of post-employment benefits. For this reason, this standard requires a simplified method of accounting for other long-term employee benefits. Unlike the accounting required for post-employment benefits, which will be tackled to in Chapter 13, 12A rather, this method does not recognize remeasurements in other comprehensive income. Although this standard does not require specific disclosures about other long-term employee benefits, other IFRS may require disclosures. For example, the International Accounting Standard 24 requires disclosures about employee benefits for key management personnel. International Accounting Standard 1 requires disclosures of employee benefits expense. So, yun. Ganun siya i-disclose sa financial statements.
So, for the last special consideration for short-term employee benefits, we have termination benefits. The event that will give rise to an obligation is the termination of employment rather than employee service. So, this is an employee benefit provided in exchange for termination of employee's employment as a result of either first is the entity's decision to terminate the employment. So, kumbaga, involuntary termination siya. Second naman is yung employee's decision to accept an entity's offer of benefits in exchange of termination of employment. So, this one is an voluntary termination since nakadepende naman sa will ni employee kung i-accept niya or hindi yung offer ni entity. However, hindi siya maka-classified as termination benefit if first, the benefit is conditional on future service being provided. So, ma-receive mo ang benefit in exchange for service. Second naman, if the benefit is in accordance with the terms of employment or employee benefit plan. Also, if the termination is at the request of employee without entity's offer and as a result of mandatory retirement requirement. So, these are considered as short-term employee benefit or post-employment benefits, not termination benefits. Illustration 11. Payment to employees who were laid off amounted to 800,000. So, this one is considered as a termination benefit since yung payment na to is about laying off employees. Second naman is payment to employees who accepted the company's offer of termination benefits amounted to 1,200,000. So, for the second one is termination benefit din siya since this one is a voluntary termination. So, in-accept ni employee yung offer ni entity in exchange of termination of employment. Third is payment to employees who resigned without the company's offer amounted to 500,000. So, this one is not a termination benefits kasi wala namang in-offer si company. Third is payment to retiring employees amounted to 600,000. So, for the fourth one, hindi rin siya termination benefit since yung payment na to is for retiring employees. In recognition of termination benefits, magre-recognize tayo ng liability and expense account when the entity can no longer withdraw the offer and kapag nag-incur na ng cost si entity for restructuring. The termination benefits may arise from the employee's decision to accept an entity's offer and the entity's decision to terminate an employment contract. Kapag employee's decision to accept an entity's offer, the entity can no longer withdraw the offer once na na-accept na ni employee or kapag may restriction na about sa withdrawal ng isang offer. Kapag naman entity's decision to terminate an employment, an entity can no longer withdraw the offer kapag nasatisfy na niya ang lahat ng criteria. First is, dapat unlikely na magkaroon pa ng mga significant changes regarding sa plan to terminate the employment. Second and third naman is, dapat specifically included sa plan kung sino ang mga employees na ita-terminate, their job classification, and kung ilan sila. And also, dapat included din sa plan yung type and amount ng benefit na ma-receive nila. So, to further discuss, we have illustration 12. For termination benefits, we will recognize 16 million. Why? Kasi the termination arise from the entity's decision to terminate the employment. So, parang involuntary termination siya. So, whether i-accept man yan or hindi ni employee, is mateterminate pa rin yung employment nila. And the entity has the obligation na bayaran ang lahat ng employees nila. So, in this case, meron tayong 200 employees. And nag-o-offer siya ng 80,000 per employee. So, 80,000, multiply natin siya sa 200 employees para makuha natin yung 16 million. Sa short-term employee benefits naman, ay meron tayong 13,500,000 or 90,000 per employee. 170,000 ang ma-receive ng mga employees who will remain until the date of closure, minus lang natin sa 80,000 na termination benefits para makuha natin yung 90,000 na short-term employee benefits. Di sila considered as termination benefits dahil these amounts are paid to employees in exchange for their services over the 3-month period from January 1 to March 31 na mag-i-stay sila sa Samsung Company. So, 90,000 times lang natin siya sa 150 na employees dahil out of 200 employees is 50 lang ang expected employees who will immediately leave the company. Then, we will get yung 13,500,000 na short-term employee benefits. So, that would be all for the Chapter 12 Employee Benefits. Thank you for listening.